So I've been using my iPhone XS Max for over a week now. So I would like to talk about the things I like and the things I don't like with it. And first of all, I am so impressed by Face ID that locks up the phone so fast that you don't hardly notice that the phone is locked. And it works perfectly fine in total darkness and everything. So Face ID is one of the best things I have ever experienced in a long time. In fact, I thought it should be not as good, so I would miss the Touch ID button, but Face ID makes Touch ID totally unnecessary because Face ID unlocks the phone so fast that you don't even notice that the phone are locked. So that is very impressive with this phone. And also the speed of this phone. I mean, it's so fast. For example, it renders 4K video when video editing in iMovie a lot faster than both my Mac and my Windows 10 machine. It's so fast. I have never experienced this performance. Not on any computer, not on any mobile phone. This phone is a monster. I mean it's so fast. And also the camera on this phone is excellent. I don't think it's so much better than my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, but it's better, but not so much. And it takes perfect photos, especially for portraits and so on. You have a portrait mode and you can have a studio light and so on your photos. And they look great actually with this phone. So the camera is great to have, and you have optical zoom and so on, and that's great to have too. So the camera is excellent. And of course the screen size, I think it's awesome. I mean the screen size on this phone, it makes it a complete tablet experience, I think. I really like the larger display, especially in landscape mode, because it has a form factor of a laptop aspect ratio then. So I really like the larger display on this phone. But one thing that's not so good is that it's not it doesn't choose the landscape mode when you have it on the home screen like this. So the apps are on the wrong way, as you can see. It doesn't make this in landscape mode when holding it like this, but when you start an app like this, you have the app exactly in landscape mode exactly as I want it. So the landscape mode works in apps but not on the home screen, and I think that's bad actually, because I would like to see the landscape mode even on the home screen, as you can do on an Android phone. Another thing that it's awesome on this phone is the speakers. I mean, they sound so good to be so small mobile speakers. I never heard anything like it. It's like the iPad Pro speakers in this form factor. So the speakers are excellent on this one. So I think even the Siri and so on is so loud, so you need to turn down the volume so much because the speakers are so good. So the speakers are excellent on this phone. And I choose the new gold version for two reasons. The first reason is because I think the fingerprints doesn't look so bad on this color as if I had chosen the space gray, for example. You see the fingerprints all over it, but not with this color. I really like that color. So, and because you have an all screen on the front, you have a complete black slate on the front. You can use different cases so very easily. So you don't need to have a matching color and so on. So you can use different colors and still have a complete black front. So that's really nice, I think. And the phone feels very heavy, and I think sometimes maybe too heavy, because I read a lot of books and so on this phone, so sometimes it gets very heavy to hold it and so on. I don't know why it's so heavy though, but the feeling of the phone is very, very heavy. And the notch, as you can see here, doesn't bother me at all. I don't know why so many people dislike the notch. I never even care about it, because all the apps are made to have the notch completely out of the way, so you don't have to bother about the notch at all. The only time you actually see the notch is when you watch videos out zoomed on the display. But most videos you watch are in 16:9 aspect ratio, and then the notch is at the side of the video, so it doesn't bother me at all. So the notch is nothing to be very angry about. And nothing else about this are bad, I think. One thing I don't like with the phone is actually iOS 12, because iOS 12 is very buggy, because sometimes, for example, when I'm going here, sometimes the search field are at the top here when I'm in this settings, for example. And when in that setting, I have a search field that go over the text. I don't see the text in here. And the only way to get rid of that is to force the phone into landscape mode, then the settings app crashes. The only way to get rid of that is to have a crash when having the phone in landscape mode. So that's a huge bug in iOS 12, and not only in the Siri shortcut settings, I have that in other settings menus too. So it's something in the settings app that are buggy in iOS 12. So that's bad. And I was a bit worried about the storage. I choose the minimum 64GB version, and I have used around 20GB of storage at the moment. And I don't think that will be a problem for me. I don't know yet, but I don't think so, even if I only have 64GB. Because when the phone gets full, I will just delete a lot of photos and videos that I have on it, so I get the storage back, so nothing to worry about actually. But we will see later on if I have a storage, too little storage on this phone. We will see. But at the moment I am happy with this phone after a week of usage, and nothing to complain about. Siri is awesome. The last time I was an iOS user, an iPhone user, Siri was terrible in Swedish, but now Siri is very good. I use Siri a lot nowadays, so I like that a lot. So that's my short review for after a week of this iPhone XS Max in gold and have 64GB of storage. Okay, bye.